Welcome to Comics Experiment right here at the Comicstorian Podcast Network, which airs every Tuesday and Thursday at twitch.tv/Comicstorian. This is the show I get together with Dan and Andy. I pointed at the wrong guys for that, but it doesn't matter because you can't see it. Yeah. For Dan and Andy. And we have discussions involved in the world of comic books, be it something happening in the industry itself, something happening in the movies, looking up a funny list. We just talk about comics and try to make it related to trending topics. I found a pencil in front of me. It's the pencil that I use for our D&D games. Don't take things away from me.
I want a pen too.
Yeah, you want a pen too? We're all going to twirl pens today?
Nope, I'm just going to doodle this whole time. It's going to be college all over again.
Anyway... This show can be found on twitch.tv/Comicstorian. We do various podcasting every Tuesday and Thursday. You can also find it uploaded over onto our YouTube channel, Comicstorian. And you can also find it located at your favorite podcast outlets or on the Rooster Teeth app. Thank you guys for joining us. And Dan has our sponsor for today. Dan,
do.
Hold on. Did you win the tic-tac-toe?
Neither of us did.
Okay.
The only way to win is not to play.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Damn!
Think outside the box, folks. All right, our sponsors today are Mint Mobile, where you can go to mintmobile.com/experiment, and when you sign up for any 3-month plan, you get 3 months for free. I use that on one of my phones, and they are great. We're also sponsored by Honey. If you go to joinhoney.com/experiment, you can try Honey out for free and save money when you shop online. We'll tell you more about both of those in the middle of today's episode.
My chair broke, Andy. I'm trying to fix it over here.
Did you actually break? Benny broke his chair. The
He's like doing the whole ad and he just and he starts like rotating.
The best part is now the experiment's going to be how still can Benny sit for the rest of the episode?
All right, guys.
Not very. Have you ever
Apparently
met
it requires him to straddle the chair.
them? Yeah, well, obviously.
Are you not straddling? I am doing the epitome of man spreading right now.
I got it.
Oh no, Andy's in
man.
high school.
Oh shit.
Tell the kids.
Let's get real, kids.
That looks
the most
so
uncomfortable
uncomfortable.
way.
That's not a comfy chair for that.
I don't know why anyone would ever actually sit in a chair like that. It doesn't make any sense.
So today's topic is one about why is the hype in comics dead? And I have examples of what we're talking about in this. So I got two things I want to bring up before we get into more of the broad spectrum of the conversation. Okay. The easy answer that a lot of the crazies over on all the social media platforms like to say is that it's the woke nature of comic books. And for those who are wondering what that means, it's when they typically woke nature of comic books, when they state it, references things such as Superboy being gay or bisexual, or them doing or a person of color being in charge, that kind of a thing. That's normally what they like to reference. Even if that is your mentality, that is ruining modern day comic books, we're not going to have that discussion today because that isn't actually the topic that we want to discuss here.
I'm barely awake. Woke, so.
But I will say, maybe sometime we will have that discussion because we don't agree that is what's ruining things at all. That's just to get headlines for most of the stuff they do. Are you okay there, Dan?
That was good. I was pretty proud of that one.
But no, a lot of times when they do that kind of a thing, everyone likes to like freak out or agree with it, and mostly it's to grab those headlines, which is what they're doing.
Yes.
Which we are going to talk about one of them today. One of those headlines that came up with the Superboy being bisexual. But the point I wanted to talk about with this is something I've noticed talking to a lot of my other comic book YouTuber friends. Our channel is on, our upfront views are lower, but it would be easy to say, oh, Benny, people are getting bored of Comicstorian. And that might legitimately be the case. And if that's the case, thank you so much for 7 great years of doing this. I'm not upset at all. Had a great ride. But so are a lot of our friends in the other side. I'm not going to go through everyone's channels and stuff like that, but a lot of the ones that they're used to us running with.
Let's not throw people under the bus.
Right.
Pointing fingers.
Exactly.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
If you go look at pretty much any of the comic book themed channels that aren't doing hate bait videos, that are actually just trying to give you information about comic books or discuss comic books, a lot of times the views are down. And that's more what I wanted to talk about. Why do we think the hype for comic books is over? Because King in Black was a huge event, but unless you were in the world of comics, you didn't even know it really happened. Fear State, I'm talking like it wasn't all over the place. Like, let's go all the way back to like death metal kind of a thing.
Well, I mean, death metal wasn't all over the place. If you weren't in the world of comics, it's not like you saw it at like Best Buy.
But they did massive promotion for like Rebirth, and Rebirth comic books ended up in Walmart. and everyone was talking about, like, I'm just saying, like, overall, the interest in the comic lines was at an all-time peak pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Basically, things like, people didn't even know this was going on. I put out a tweet out that we're covering Fear State and Batman to get the response of, what is Fear State? It's the big Batman crossover, and no one cares.
Yeah.
And right before the show, we discussed the ending of Immortal Hulk happened, and you didn't even know it happened.
To be fair, I was dying that week.
But you didn't think to check back, and you didn't hear anybody talking about it, and things moved too quickly. And the one that got us on this topic in general, the reason we were beginning to discuss it, was actually Superboy coming out as bisexual. Because that was a headline-breaking thing. Tom Taylor has Tom Taylor has written John Kent to be bisexual, gave him a boyfriend, all over the news.
Well, they're not dating yet.
Okay.
Right? They're not Facebook official.
This is true.
Yeah.
Oh, is it just say it's complicated on Facebook right now?
No, they kissed once. That's not dating.
It's not dating. It's
Unless
just
you're
that
that
they
creepy guy.
removed that it's no longer single. So they just
There you
hid it
go.
from their page until
That's what
they're
it is.
certain that it's in a
Okay.
relationship.
No.
But what I was going to say is, almost within a week and a half, 2 weeks, we're now moving on. John Kent ditched the cape. That's the new topic. We're not hovering on anything. We're not discussing anything. Back in the days of Rebirth, like when Rebirth came out, every week was a new discussion over what they're doing with Flash, what's going on with Green Arrow. Marvel Now came out and it was like, oh, who's this new team of champions? What are the champions doing? And in the world of comics, we were all discussing it like all over the place. You know, everyone in the YouTube scene was like, oh, what comics are going to blow up? What are we going to talk about? If you go over to like the TikTok, everyone's talking about all the new comic books. But ever since the pandemic, it doesn't seem like no matter what happens in comics, be it Scarecrow conquering Gotham City, or Superboy being bisexual, it doesn't last more than a week and we just move on. Like no one cares anymore. The hype isn't there anymore. No one talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, another great example, Extreme Carnage. The book that brought back Flash Thompson
Right.
and Carnage.
To be fair, Carnage had only been gone for like a week and a half.
I forgot he left.
It was like absolute Carnage. He's gone.
King in Black.
No, he's back. Absolute Carnage, he's back again. Or Extreme Carnage, he's back.
But they brought back the Life
again.
Foundation symbiotes. They brought back Mania.
Yes,
They brought back Flash Thompson, which is a huge fan favorite. And I'm literally still telling people, they brought back Flash Thompson. He's back.
Right.
But no one knows Extreme Carnage was a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the discussion I want to talk about today. Even the big hit comics that normally is just Batman fighting a villain, or Agent Venom coming back and fighting Carnage, or Hulk ending his Immortal Hulk run. Like nothing that would be put into the world of woke comics or alt-right comics,
Hulk.
any of that stuff.
You say
Now he's the mortal Hulk.
it's true.
He is now.
He can be killed. Finally.
But what I'm saying is, like normal, just day-by-day comic books, like that doesn't even fall into one of what people would consider these bubbles. Oh, it's over here and this was written by this. None of that. Just normal comics are not hitting any kind of hype. No one cares. They put out a Batman trailer. Everyone freaks out. No one even knows Scarecrow conquered Gotham.
Was he in the trailer?
It was twice. Yeah, he did it twice in a row.
Was he in the trailer? No. Where's the Riddler event? It's not even a joke.
It'll be out next year with the movie.
Wasn't there like a year and a half, 2 years ago with the War of Joke and Riddles?
And Zero Year. Zero Year was a real
Zero
event.
Year was, Riddler. Where apparently he had robots taken over.
Oh yeah, obviously.
And that was the 80s.
Riddler bots.
And also Gotham went from like bustling metropolis to covered in like grass and twigs and a jungle in the span of like a week and a half.
It was overrun pretty quick.
Yeah, it
Nature
was-
took it back.
Yeah, like, man, did all our weed whackers suddenly stop working? What happened?
They're on strike. They're unionizing.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'll take this one from the chat too. Shang-Chi has a new book right now. No one has said
Just
anything.
ended.
It just concluded.
Well, the
Well, it
first
just
final
ended.
arc, yeah,
Black
it was-
Widow's comic book, no one cares about. And that was actually really good. I liked
Yeah.
the idea of her having the kid and being brainwashed and stuff like
liked it
that. I guess the Eternals had a book. I didn't even know that was a book going on
It
right
was
now.
really good. I read it all.
Yeah, so,
pretty
but
solid.
that's my point. Like, even in the world of comics where I normally get hit up all the time about the new books and what I should be reading, my YouTube friends, my social media friends, just fans in general who watch the show are like, Ben, you got to read this, you got to read that, you got to read this. Even us going through the schedule on the channel, being like, what should we put out? What matters? What do people care about? no one cares about anything. That's the world we're in right now.
Yeah.
I do Fear State, no one cares. We do Extreme Carnage, no one cares. We do Venom, no one cares. And I'm looking at like our competitor channels. It's not doing much better for them either. It's not like, oh, yeah, I'll use Variant because Variant has a tendency to blow up on a video. Variant's not even blowing up on his videos, covering a lot of these topics right now, which tells me interest is down. It's, you know what I mean? It's not just, oh, our channel's been around for a while and it's falling apart. It's nothing like that, although that would be really sad.
Oh, this was it, people. The last episode ever. That's what we figured out from our topic.
That was fun. See y'all later. No, it's just more like interest in general is down because all the other channels that do what we do, or covering comics and talking about comics and stuff like that, they're not doing much better. They're doing good. We're all doing good.
Yeah.
But no one's blowing up. So what do you think, Andy? Let's go with you first.
I had a.
Okay, Dan, go. Yeah.
for it, yeah.
Go.
All right, what I think.
I thought Andy had something. That's why I went to him.
What I think is ruining the hype in comic books is solicits. Biggest problem with solicits right now is we get a preview of 2 comics out, basically.
Yeah.
Usually it's 1 or 2 comics out. The big thing with like John Kent being bisexual, that was big news 2 weeks ago when the solicit came out. That issue only came out today.
Yeah, no, yesterday, or 2 days ago. But yes.
2 days ago, this week.
Yeah.
And
I actually didn't know that. To tap on that real quick, I thought it came out when the news happened because we receive a lot of this stuff early through the solicits and PDFs and stuff like that. So I read that issue. And then it came out Tuesday and people are talking about it finally coming out. I'm like, holy crap, that wasn't out? Like that wasn't a thing yet?
Exactly. And that's the biggest
And
problem.
no one even knew.
That's the biggest problem is when everyone knows about it before it's out, the hype dies before it's actually out. It's kind of like some games where they're like, you get the open beta or early access, and then there's just too long of a delay between you being hyped during that early play, then the game comes out and you're like, well, I've moved on. I don't really care anymore. There's a new thing happening and I can do that right now. And solicits do this with everything because I have to find the news for Absolute Comics, the Tuesday show that we do here at twitch.tv/Comicstorian, roughly 5 p.m. Eastern.
Roughly.
Basically,
Starts more or less around that.
Half of the topics that I find are solicits for comics way down the road. And since I read the comics every week, half the time I do read that comic and I'm like, wait. This didn't come out already? And that basically, that's what I think
I've
is
gotten
the biggest
confused before. Like with that, we're all because I don't read the comics when they come out like these guys do. A lot of times I read them when we're covering for the channel, just so it's super fresh in my mind and I know better. I have a better idea of the emotions and stuff like that I need to do. That's why they do the review show. So I'll be catching up on books. And I swear I've read them because we've already discussed them. We've already had a topic on it. We've already seen it all over Twitter. And it's like, did I catch up and not realize it?
And to go on that as well is you get the solicits 2 weeks early. So the very hype ones you talk about, but the ones that are not as hyped, no one talks about because they're like, no. Who cares that Immortal Hulk ended this week? It doesn't matter. We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks, this is going to happen. So we're going to ignore the fact that there's an Eternals book with the Eternals movie. And there's even hype topics about some of those as well, with the fact that one of the main characters in the comics is male, and in the movie, it's a female. That's one of the things. No one ever talked about it because other things were in the news for things that weren't even out yet. And it's...
I got another one that I actually meant to bring into the opening of this topic. The biggest thing that I feel like, and this is also what got me thinking about it outside of what you and I discussed, Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Marvel is making a big deal out of Spider-Man Beyond. New team, new idea. Ben Reilly's back. Right around Spider-Man No Way Home trailers, Spider-Man new toys, Spider-Man movie. This would be the time that you would expect everyone in the world of comics that reads comics is talking about Spider-Man Beyond. Holy crap, Spider-Man Beyond. And our biggest Spider-Man fan friend, Sal, isn't even caught up on Spider-Man. I'm more caught up on Spider-Man than he is. I'm still telling people, no, Nick Spencer left the book. Spider-Man Beyond is a whole new thing.
Yeah.
When I put out that video on the channel, because Batman Beyond is one of those videos that we can just say Batman Beyond, and that and Red Hood, I can put it out and it gets views no matter what. So I was like, oh, Spider-Man Beyond. This is gonna be an easy
It's
one.
literally in the name.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be an easy view catch, and I like the story. Let's do Spider-Man Beyond. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares. And half the YouTubers aren't even covering Spider-Man Beyond because no one's reading it. So, what do you think? Anybody want to jump in?
Were you done with your thought?
Yeah, I would say so.
I'm one of those Spider-Man because you talked about Eternals, same concept. Because
Exactly.
Spider-Man's the next hype moment, and no one is aware
Yeah.
Spider-Man Beyond is happening.
Plus, in Spider-Man Beyond, when like Ben Reilly goes back to his base, he goes through a portal.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Honey. Honey is a free browser extension that is designed to save you money. Honey automatically scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best ones that it finds to your cart to save you money. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, ranging from tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands and even food delivery. Honey has helped 17 million members save more than $2 billion. Just click the Apply Coupons button on the extension at checkout and watch the savings roll in. I've been using Honey every time that I shop online. Honey helped me save on my recent Walmart order by getting me free shipping. If you don't already have Honey, you could straight up be missing out on free savings. It's literally free and it installs in a few seconds. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid in supporting this podcast. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/experiment. That's at joinhoney.com/experiment. Thanks, Honey, for supporting today's episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile. This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile, buy any 3-month plan and you'll get 3 months for free. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton, with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. I've been using Mint Mobile long before this holiday deal, and I have to say, it's the perfect time to switch. With all plans coming with unlimited talk and text, as well as high-speed data delivered on one of the nation's largest 5G networks, what's not to love? For a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/experiment. That's mintmobile.com/experiment. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/experiment.
And the portal is closed with Andy's opinion.
My
Let's hear it.
arm!
Don't worry, when your movie comes out in January, you'll get that back.
I have a movie in January?
Yeah.
Morbius.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Morbius.
Well, I wasn't pretending to be Morbius, just that my arm was sliced off. So I feel we had a disconnect.
Hey, nope, now you're Morbius.
put away
Man,
my
I don't want to be
sword.
Jared Leto. He's kind of a douche. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I would say, I mean, my height died for comics long ago. And the main reason for that is because event fatigue. And then
We're going from event to event, you're right.
and then it's just the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
With a great example being Batman Fear State, which was almost exactly identical to Joker War.
See, I was gonna follow up with that because you said event fatigue. Batman went from Joker War, which
And then it was like a couple of weeks of nothing major.
well,
And then Fear State.
I think Joker War ended at 106. I think.
It's Joker War, then Death Metal, wasn't it?
No. Joker
Or
War
was
was way
Death
after.
Metal-
It was
Yeah,
way
yeah,
after
yeah.
Death Metal.
Death Metal
But it was
was been
Joker
a
War.
while.
I'm pretty sure Joker War went up to almost 106, and then we did like a Meet Ghostmaker Clown Hunter kind of thing.
Yep.
And then it started with the prelude to Fear State.
Yep.
And now we're just into Fear State.
So
And half of Fear State was Future State.
that is true. Yeah, actually, that is a good point. Yeah.
yeah, which we already know about.
So that would be, and that's just an example. And the thing is like, and I really like James Tynion's writing, and I said this in our review show, but the ending to Fear State was almost exactly identical to the ending to Joker War, and that is what I think kills a lot, because that killed my hype for comics for a long time. Is that they literally just tell the same story over and over again. And everything's got to be a giant event now where everybody's got to do crossover. And, well, you don't know what's going on in these other 17 books? Well, then you're not going to get the full story. And that's across both.
Yeah.
I think Marvel's worse with it in terms of events, but both comics, it's realistically just the same story repeated ad nauseum with some slight variations to it.
Fear State with crossovers, because I've been doing a lot of research on that right now so that we know what we got to cover for the channel.
Sure.
And they just threw in books that don't even relate.
Right, yeah.
Like Task Force Z is listed as a tie-in.
Yeah, I know.
And I think they mentioned that was happening on the side.
Do you want to know how that ties in to Future State and Fear State and all of that? It's because Task Force Z, they're resurrected using the Lazarus resin, which is used in Suicide Squad, which was used to bring back Calibra in the current team, which was the team that was in the Future State, where they've got Superboy that goes to a different universe. And then that Lazarus resin was also referenced in the Man-Bat comic, because he also got a tie-in, and they even just reference it, kind of like Task Force Z.
Yeah, they even write that. Yeah.
That's how it connects.
So to me, that's what kills a lot of the hype. And then, because everybody points to like, oh, the movies do so well, why doesn't that? They've learned, or at least they've pointed out that just because an MCU movie does really well, or DCU or whatever, although those don't do well, just because the movies
Joker
do well, that does not translate to comic book sales.
Yeah.
Because your average moviegoer isn't generally a comic book reader.
And they don't do a good job of getting comic books into those people's hands.
No,
the
they
local
don't.
comic book store argument comes up a lot, and I love my local comic book store. But the problem with the local comic book store is there's not enough of them to get that out there. That's why comics should be in bookstores and Walmart, and like the big names, and then you go to your local comic book store to really deep dive into the hobby.
Right.
You know, it's no different when it comes to that. Video games. Video games, you know, before digital became a thing, thanks to more of a thing thanks to the pandemic. It used to be you'd go to Walmart and get all the big names, but if you wanted to play a lot more obscure titles, you would eventually find your way to GameStop and EB or digital. That's when you would start going deeper into that hobby. And because of the argument of local comic book stores not wanting the Walmart books out and things like that, we don't have that gateway. We don't have that one Batman book that makes you go read Red Hood and you can buy him at your local comic book store.
Right.
So,
and to add on to that, even in the MCU movies and stuff, before, you know, any part, they never reference the comic. They never go, check out the comics that are out right now. Like in the Shang-Chi one, they could have like just go, hey, read more of Shang-Chi in this.
Brothers and sisters, pretty much the plot of the movie.
And the other problem with that is a lot of the times the big MCU plots are old comics. They're not even current, like what's currently going on in Thor or whatever is different than what's in the MCU Thor, because a lot of the MCU Thor is really old Thor stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of like...
He's still like king right now, isn't he?
Yeah, right now. Right now he's still king.
Johnny Cates, like it's like an issue 18
he's
or
still,
19.
Yeah, he is.
Because you said the Throg stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, where you're talking to like even Ragnarok, which was essentially Planet Hulk with Thor in there. Or the basic premise of Planet Hulk. Like that book in and of itself was like 15 years before Ragnarok ever came out.
Yeah.
So, you know, so then if I go back and read, I really like Thor Ragnarok, let me go read Thor. What the hell is going on? Why does he have the Destroyer's arm? Also, I wouldn't know who the Destroyer was. But why does he have a robotic arm? Or at the time, I think when Ragnarok came out, it was still Jane Foster Thor.
Oh, no, it was actually.
So it's
I think
like,
it was at that time because that was very confusing. Because now Jane Foster's going in the books, but if you going into the movie,
yes, correct. But now
if you
she's
go,
Valkyrie in the comics.
It's like so if you go to the comic, like, well, where's female Thor?
I don't think they do a good enough. I mean, and I don't know how you would do that. Like, hey guys, this is what's going on in our comics, so try to put that in the movie.
Well, I mean, look, just look at Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
Right now, Peter Parker's on his deathbed.
Right.
And his movie's coming out. And rumor has it there's 3 Peter Parkers.
Which is still not official as of the time of this recording.
And none of them are going to go by the name Ben Reilly.
That is true. Although one should, because it would be cool. So I think.
Oh, there's 2 Peter Parkers. I'm Ben Reilly.
I think it's. He just looks at the screen. He just looks at the camera. So, like I said, for me, it's mostly the event fatigue and the fact that it's realistically just the same story over and over again. And then if you look at the MCU, I think that kills a lot of hype too, because all of the hype is for the movies. All comic book hype these days is for what's going on in the movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then people are like, did you know this is also like a printed thing? Well, also digital. But you can read like full-blown stories with these people in them? Are they the same as the movies? No.
I mean,
I also
20 years ago, yes.
I also think that what's hurting the hype right now is DC's marketing department. Because they're
or lack thereof.
Well, they're too busy trying to get the Superboy is by article out there.
Right.
I never once saw Scarecrow's taking over Gotham City.
Well, because that's not the big thing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Superman
but like,
is by.
You know, same thing with Spider-Man Beyond. Spider-Man Beyond is going on, and outside of the Marvel feeds, I didn't see anything hitting major outlets. The marketing departments are too busy.
You heard about Peter Parker dying 3 issues before it actually happened.
That's true.
That's true. That's a good point, yeah.
Because when so he's 100% right about that. Because when we were planning out, because Andy and I were planning out how we're going to do the Nick Spencer finale for Spider-Man at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about it, like 75 or 74.
Whatever it was.
Supposedly he dies, according to the solicits. Because the solicits are stating that Peter Parker had died.
Yeah.
So we were planning that Nick Spencer was going to end it on a death, which I was very surprised when he didn't die in that book.
It's weird.
Yeah,
and then the last scene is hit with Uncle Ben with his hand around, like Ultimate Spider-Man. That's how he died.
That's right.
And it's like, you did good, kid. I'm like,
But-
wait a minute. It's the same picture. They didn't even do a new one.
But so,
Even Miles still.
and then in 75 he didn't die, and then 76 he's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
But we knew that was coming already because this is why Ben Reilly's taking over. But we knew that, like you said, 2 months in advance. When it finally happened, I forgot it was happening.
Yeah.
You forgot
Well,
it was
also,
happening.
like, touching on like the news site thing, news sites generally run a specific type of story. If you look at like CBR or Screen Rant or what's the other one, Kotaku, they run a very specific type of story.
Well, they do hate bait. So hate bait in the world of content creation, just so they understand. And it works on the guys who make the YouTube videos that come up with the bullshit topics. They're the ones that come up with the articles that come up with the bullshit topics. It has been proven in the world of social media that you will get more clicks, more impressions, more people on your topic if you just hate on things. If you just create a broad
if you do a topic that you know people are going to hate on.
Yes, you and it's known as hate bait in the world of content creation. If I were to make a video tomorrow and it were to say Tobey Maguire is the worst Spider-Man ever, I will probably get more views on that than I have gotten on anything in the last 2 weeks.
So we'll put that on the schedule.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
I could give you a whole list of reasons why Tobey Maguire is the worst Spider-Man ever.
Next week's comics experiment.
Why does Tobey Maguire suck? Did you
what
ever
I'm
see
saying
November
is-
Sky? He was in that movie. That's why.
But it's the problem with the hate bait
Tobey
articles and
Maguire
stuff like
movie.
that is once you start doing them, and this is why we at Comicstorian have never done like super clickbait, hate bait stuff, because I could very easily come up with a rant about.
I hate a lot of stuff, people.
We between the three of us, we could easily give you a lot of just hatred for things.
Oh yeah.
You get stuck in this like. You get stuck in like an echo chamber of hate, and that's why I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
I like to say generally positive, and if I'm just gonna be like, this Spider-Man sucks, can you believe that they killed Peter Parker? What is John Kent doing? Like if I just do that all the time,
What does that have to do with Peter Parker?
Why did John Kent kill Peter Parker?
Now there's a story.
John Kent and Peter Parker are dating.
Superman crosses the multiverse to kill Peter Parker
Just to
and kiss Ben Reilly. So, but what I was trying to say is,
I like that punctuation.
Yeah.
And kiss Ben Reilly.
Riley. So if you look at sites like those, basically their articles are either for a group of people that they know are going to like that, at the same time for a group of people that they know are going to hate them because they want those groups to look at their articles.
For every person who was upset that John Kent was coming out as bi, I would see a follow-up tweet about someone who liked the idea that John Kent was coming out as bi.
If you're going to do an article like that, instead of doing an article like Batman does more Batman stuff.
I want to see that article.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, okay, let's say hypothetically, what are the 2 main events coming out this week? Okay, well, we got the finale to Fear State, which is just a Batman event. Okay, well, what's this article? It's John Kent comes out as bi. We're going to do this one.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this one because it's just Batman doing Batman things. Realistically, nobody's going to care.
He punched Scarecrow, though.
Well, no, he kissed Scarecrow. Anyway.
His greatest fear was making out with Jonathan Crane.
No. His greatest fear is emotional vulnerability.
Ooh.
So realistically, you're going to go with this thing that you know at least 2 subsections of fans are going to click on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think a lot of the, hey, it's an Eternals book about the Eternals while the Eternals movie's coming out. Was anything crazy happen in it? It's more Eternal stuff. Okay. Well, nobody's going to click on that. Nobody cares.
Right.
So we don't hear about it.
That's why you don't hear about it.
Because we didn't hear about Fear State, just like the major articles aren't picking up on the Spider-Man Beyond stuff from what I've seen.
Well, it's okay. So it's Ben Reilly from the past. Okay, we can do a little something with that. What is he doing? He's Spider-Man again. Okay. Does he kiss anyone?
Girl or guy? We just want a
We
headline.
don't care.
Yeah, we just want a headline.
Just say,
Just have him kiss an actual
I
spider.
need him to. I don't even know what that would be called.
Hello, spider bro.
Arachnosexual?
Arachnosexual.
I don't even know what that
Oh,
would be.
did you say arachnid sexual?
Arachnosexual. Just really into spiders. Yeah, but that's why it's Ben Reilly's back. Great. And they did talk about that for a little while when it was happening. But now it's like, okay, he's doing Spider-Man stuff. That does nothing for us.
Yeah.
That gets no clicks.
And so that doesn't get the
gets no
hype. So no one's talking about it except for the true diehard fans
Right.
who are buying
The
it.
real Spider-Man, Ben Reilly fans are like, yes, I want a Ben Reilly book. Awesome, great. Why is nobody talking about this? Because the larger community, who maybe aren't hardcore comic book fans, doesn't care.
Yeah. All right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because they're just so busy trying to get the next big article.
Big click thing, anything.
And they just tried a Superman-centric article, and I think it died off in a day. Superman dropped the cape.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I saw the article that you sent me, Dan.
Yep.
And I've seen nothing on that.
Well, I mean, because realistically, is Superman getting rid of his cape that big a deal?
Well, that.
like,
and the other-
why would there
It was
be
a big
hype
deal
for
when they
that?
got rid of the trunks.
I mean, that's true.
Well, that
But that's
I mean,
because
okay.
it's related to his crotch, and that is clickbait.
That is true.
It's
yeah.
crotch bait.
Superman no longer wearing pants. What?
Click on that.
It's breezier.
It gets hot in this thing.
There is no breathability in those tights.
Yeah. Could taste my own genitals. That's how tight it is.
You know what I can taste, Dan?
Ooh.
This amazing G Fuel.
All right, not where I thought we were going with that.
No.
No.
It's our G Fuel sponsor. Do the thing. Do the thing.
G Fuel. Use code COMICS at checkout. Save 10% off your order.
But going off the cape thing. All right, so one week you have John Kent comes out as bisexual, and then let's say the next week you have John Kent ditches the cape. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
Well, I will say the other downside of that is, once again, Future State. He didn't have the cape.
that's true.
They gave it away already.
Yeah.
He just doesn't make out with his boyfriend in there because, actually,
Wasn't he dating Wonder Girl?
No, it was
thought he was
implied.
doing
No, it was
those.
implied they might end up together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
But
gonna
it was
say, I
only
thought
3 issues, so that never
Yeah, I was
happened.
gonna say I thought
Exactly.
they kind of like at least implied that they had been a thing in the past. But I mean, he's bisexual, so hypothetically they could still be.
But I would say right now, actually, like harping on that, right now, DC shot themselves in the foot with Future State because everything already happened. So when you see those news titles, you go, I read that already.
Yeah.
The worst part about the Future State hype is they came out with those 2 issues of everything, and it was like, oh, this is a cool idea. It's like,
it
it's
could be an alternate idea. Of the
yeah,
future.
but they were like, it's an alternate future. It might happen. And
then
now we're
it
a year.
did.
I was like, now we're a year down the road. I was like, so it is happening.
Well, not really.
The first
but
half of
some
it
of it
happened.
is. Yeah.
I will say
altered.
the
Like
only
Batman, they
thing.
got rid of the peacekeepers already.
Well, yeah, he got rid of
Yeah.
the Peacekeepers already. But like the Black Batman,
Yeah.
it's technically happening. It just took 12 issues to discover the suit even existed.
Also, the new Batman doesn't make any sense because he took over in Future State because Batman had disappeared. That was his thing. He was like, "Well, the streets need Batman again," but now he's around and Batman's still a thing, along with 8 other Bat people.
Well, he's going to New York now. If you've ever read that article.
Oh, I hadn't read that article.
Yeah, that one came out that he is the Batman of New York.
Okay, but
Oh,
who does he
is
kiss?
that comic coming out in 3 weeks?
Who does he kiss?
Huh?
Who does he kiss? That's all I care about.
Who's in New York? Ben Reilly.
Riley.
He's the Batman of Marvel Comics. So he's gonna be like a Batman type character? No, he's actually Batman of Marvel Comics.
We send him to New York, and as you all know, DC doesn't have a New
That's
York.
where all the Marvel heroes are.
There's 500 Marvel heroes, 489 of them.
Realistically, if you think about it, every other city's got like one.
Yeah.
New York,
Houston only had
800.
Kane for a little while, and he just like, I'm going to Vegas.
As Scarlet Spider?
Yeah, I got to go chase down Ben Reilly. He's over there.
I think in the first issue, didn't he talk about how it was so hot he was sweating like in his suit? And he was like, I could taste my own genitals.
And on that note, this has been the Comics Experiment. So let us know in the comments down below what your theories are as to why the hype has been dying. And you can have any one of your theories. I said that we weren't going to go into... The only reason I kind of prefaced this by discussing, I didn't want to go too much into the woke discussion because I feel like that argument in itself would be a whole episode if you discuss what is actually consider like what is just representation and what is actually a forced agenda, and that could be a whole
Actually,
episode.
Which, if you want to check it out, we actually did that a couple weeks ago when the kiss was announced. We discussed we discussed
I
the
was sick that
Superman being bisexual.
You missed a lot that week.
I was
Yeah.
sick. I had a cold.
But that's why I didn't want to like touch on that topic, because I found it weird that you would have Spider-Man Beyond doing Spider-Man things, Batman Fear State doing Batman things.
Nobody
Like,
cares.
All these normal storylines, no one even talks about.
Yeah.
So
Who do they kiss?
each other. We've established that.
He clones himself.
There's your alternate reality. Batman hooks up with Spider-Man. Ben Affleck, Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire and Brokeback Mountain.
No.
Oh, Brokeback Mountain
that
with
was
Batman,
Joker,
and Spider-Man,
Mysterio.
Yeah.
Joker, and Mysterio.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm Mysterio. Okay, now you look different. Okay, we can do that.
What's today's sponsors, Dan?
Today's sponsors were G Fuel. Use code comics at checkout. Save 10% on your order. Mint Mobile. Go to mintmobile.com/experiment. When you buy a 3-month plan, you get 3 months for free. And joinhoney.com/experiment, where you can use Honey to save money when you shop online. It's also sponsored by our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian. You get the unedited version of this podcast, which is very often about 5 minutes of content because Benny doesn't know I hit record.
I don't.
He likes to ramble.
Likes to. It's my job.
Thanks for watching.